Do you feel like he is sort of in the same situation, maybe a little bit as last year going into the Rose Bowl, of another point to prove a little bit? I mean, what's your sense of? I think he appeared to be disappointed with his tweet immediately after that, but about the news. But do you sense he has a point to prove himself?
Well, you know, our league had some extraordinary quarterbacks and what they meant to their teams. You know, and you think about the kid at Northwestern. I mean, he was fantastic. You know, Denard Robinson had numbers off the charts. Cousins, you know, led his team to a Big Ten championship. Tolzien, I thought, was spectacular. So I'm sure as people voted and so forth, there was a split opinion. And someone told me that Terrell's a finalist for the silver football, down to three guys, you know, and they aren't all quarterbacks, I don't think.
It's Robinson and Terrell and Ryan Kerrigan.
Yeah,
wow.
So
they're going to announce him this week in the
you know, so I mean, you know how votes go and so forth. So I think in Terrell's case, does he have to prove a point? Terrell's always in the mindset that he has to prove a point. That's just his makeup. But he knows this, that the #1 measuring stick of a quarterback is, you know, are they successful and do they win the game? And if you asked anybody, would they trade their conference championship ring for an all-conference, you know, designation? Of course not. But we had some darn good quarterbacks in our league, and I think that's why we were a pretty good league.
Jim, you guys seem to have a pretty well-conceived game plan for the bowl game last year, which when you execute well, it always comes out well conceived. Yeah. But I'm sure you guys talked for a month about keeping them off the field, possessing the ball, and all the things that you guys did. What I'm getting at is, with a full month, how much more comfort do you have as opposed to a week, especially when you're playing a dynamic team like that, to feel like, well, let's figure this out?
Yeah, I think when you have the length of time, it's a little bit blown out of proportion, because we take some of that time when we're out recruiting, we take some of that time and send them home for Christmas. But we do get a good number of practices. And of course, when you're playing against a great team, in our philosophy, when you're playing against anyone, we want to possess the ball, we want to score a lot, we want to put the pressure on them, put the pressure on their offense to feel like they have to use every possession, you know, that type of thing. And we happened to move the ball pretty good in the Oregon game, and we happened to hold them to, I don't know, 18 or 19 minutes of possession, which sometimes for Oregon that meant 42 points.
Yeah.
You know, so I mean, it's not just the minutes and seconds of a possession situation, but to win against a great team, and I consider Arkansas a great team. Last year's Oregon team, I think we were 7 and they were 8, and then that's kind of about where we are now with this game, you know, somewhere in there. Those are great teams. You start playing any of those teams, so you better do well on your special teams, and we didn't do a wonderful job last year in the Rose Bowl, if you recall.
Right.
But offensively, we were very solid, and defensively, we applied the pressure to them, and they didn't get enough possessions to go do what they normally do. In order to compete with Arkansas, we're going to have to be good in all 3 phases, and you know, that's what we'll go to work on. But it won't be quite as much time, you know, as some people think, because you know, we want to make sure we always talk about getting the right blend of things. We want to have the right blend of getting their exams done, the right blend of getting healthy, the right blend of practice, the right blend of some holiday time at home for they and their families, and then of course the right blend of work. And we're going to work hard, and you know, I think our seniors, you know, are excited, you know, to continue to lead for another month. They seem to be a sad group in some ways when the regular season ended, because those guys, you know, they love Ohio State. The thought of another month as a Buckeye excites them.
Coach, what is it about your teams every year? You guys, the prize is there, and you guys always able to go through November with no problems at all.
Well, I don't know about always, but you know, I think our coaches do a good job of honestly evaluating, and you know, we don't sugarcoat it if we win, and we don't say the world's going to end if we lose. We, I hope, evaluate and teach and grade and so forth on an even keel, and if you do that, you have a chance to get better. And I think we have been an improving team most years. I really do. Now, do you improve enough to win those tough games? You know, we've won our share, but we haven't won them all. And we've got to do a good job of improving between now and January the 4th if we're going to have a chance to compete with Arkansas.
Jim, is there anything injury-wise or with anybody that you didn't know right after the Michigan game?
I don't think so. I don't remember anyone leaving that game. Game seems like a long time ago, but I think we're. And it's not like there's anyone we're getting back. Maybe Christian Bryant can get back and practice some. I haven't heard too much on that scenario. But the guys that are lost for the year, we won't play those guys, and hopefully we'll stay healthy during bowl practice. You know, that's one of those things you got to decide how to blend that too. You know, how hard, you know, how much risk versus reward, you know, in your preparation you do, and I hope we do a good job of coming up with the right formula.
Do you have the schedule for when you'll start, when you'll send them home, when they'll travel to the bowl?
Yeah, we'll begin practice when final exams are over on Thursday. And so that's the 9th, I believe. And then we'll practice through the 21st. And then they'll get to be home the 22nd, 3rd, 4th, 5th, and travel back here the 26th. Practice a couple days here before we leave the 29th. And the 29th will be like a Sunday of game week. And then we'll begin practice there Monday, which would be 30th, whatever day of the week that is. And then we play the 4th, which is Saturday, but I don't know what day it really is. Did that help you?
Well, you've got me all screwed up.
Hey, Chris, was this the type of birthday present that you were hoping for today?
Yeah, it was the only one I was hoping for, because I really think that these kids deserve, you know, to have another great challenge and another chance to represent Ohio State and represent the Big Ten. And you know, this is a special group of 24 seniors. We'll hate to see them go. We almost missed the bowl game though with our banquet. It went so long. Sometimes you give guys a microphone and I think we set a record, didn't we?
I think we did, 5 hours.
It was something, but yeah, this was the only birthday present I was hoping for.
We talked about Michigan State sort of lobbying. Did you talk to any Sugar Bowl people this week to make Ohio State's case? Or?
Yes.
Does that matter? Do you think does that?
Probably not, but you know, I think it's important to know if the passion the Sugar Bowl has to create a tremendous experience for the teams, to create a tremendous experience for the viewers, and for the people in their community that work all year round for this week. I think, you know, Gene Smith felt and Gordon Gee felt that they needed to know how excited we were about the possibility that we might be one of the 2 teams invited. So I don't know that makes a difference, because I think, like any good organization, they've been planning for a long time, and they know what they need and they know what they want, and they know the rules. You know that so-and-so gets to pick first, and this team's locked in so-and-so. But I think it was important that they knew that we were fired up about, you know, the thought of, you know, playing in the Sugar Bowl, spending, you know, a week in New Orleans. I know our kids were. Right after the day after the Michigan game, I had a couple guys stop by and say, "Coach, do you remember how good that food was?" And a couple of the guys that stopped by, I said, "Well, you might need to have less of it." But you know, our people are fired up.
Coach, your senior class is going to its 4th straight BCS bowl game. I think it's the
Some
first...
of them are 5th straight, I think,
5th?
right? Yeah,
Fifth?
the 5th-year guys. Yeah.
Can you talk a little bit about just where this senior class goes down in the school's program history?
You know, one of the things that we said at the outset of our banquet today was that while they do have some extraordinary numbers you can point to, you know, on wins and you know, individual records and things like that, bowl games and so forth, the thing that in my mind they go down for is that they're the most unselfish, team-oriented, you know, guys that loved being at Ohio State and loved training with one another and loved going out there and playing, practicing, and that who they are, to me, is much more important than what they do. And what they've done is tremendous. You know, you can't say that it's not, fabulous what they've accomplished with wins and losses and so forth. But what they've done in the community, what they've done in the classroom, what they've done on the campus, to create a culture, that make students and faculty and fans and everyone else proud of following that group of guys, to me is far better than their record. Now I know, records get printed in books and all those kinds of things and get remembered, and I'm proud of that for them as well, and that's why they'll try very hard to create some good history, on January 4th, but you'll never convince me otherwise that they weren't an extraordinary group, because they really were.
The Sugar Bowl call is going to start in 10 minutes.
Okay.
Anybody got anything before that? I wouldn't ask you on the call.
You can get on the call if you want. Well, where's Lori?
Right there.
Okay,
Right there.
Lori.
The last time you were in New Orleans, everyone was remarking about how businesslike the Buckeyes' attitude and approach was. But I think, if I recall correctly, part of that was in response to the year before, and this is a very senior-laden group. Have these guys earned maybe a lighter touch this year?
A lighter touch? Every bowl game we've gone to, the seniors have decided schedules and so forth, curfews and whatnot. So I have no reason to think they don't deserve whatever it is they bring up. And what I found, honestly, is that the players bring up a more stringent schedule than I might. And but you go back to that word I've been using, blend. This got to be fun. These guys have been practicing a lot of football since they got back from the Rose Bowl and took a couple weeks off. They've been going full speed, and I want them to enjoy this experience and create those lifetime memories. But one of the memories will be how well do you play, and so there's that blend of preparation and business-like approach. But you got to have fun. They work too hard not to have fun.
Is there a difference between a bowl game and a national championship game, though, from your vantage point of the intensity, or?
Not really. The only thing about the national championship games, the last two we've been in, is they've been significantly later.
Mm-hmm.
They were like on the 7th, 8th, somewhere in there, and this one for Oregon and Auburn's the 10th.
Yeah.
So that really pushes it back and just makes the preparation so long. I think our first national championship we went to was right around the 3rd or the 4th.
Yeah.
So this will be similar. But I don't know that. I think back to our preparation for the Alamo Bowl, and our guys were as wired into that as they were any other time. And our guys want to compete. They want to make a good showing, and so no, I'm not sure. They may feel a little bit more pressure if it's a national championship game. I don't know that for sure, but I felt like we needed to win the Alamo Bowl.
Mm-hmm.
But it's I'm excited for our guys to have a great experience.
Okay.
All righty, thank you, folks.
Thanks, Kevin.